brought you this story yesterday. A caravan of immigrants, 1,200 strong, marching towards America, where we live. And a BuzzFeed reporter following along with them, touting their, quote, struggle.
President Trump sounding off on this, tweeting yesterday, Border Patrol agents are not allowed to properly do their job at the border because of ridiculous liberal Democrat laws like catch and release. Getting more dangerous. Caravans coming. Republicans must go to nuclear option to pass tough laws now.
So much
no more DACA deal.
So much to talk about there. Join us right now with his reaction, former Secret Service agent, former New York City Police Department cop, Dan Bongino. He's also the host of the Dan Bongino Show. Dan, please excuse my voice. It's a little scratchy after a couple of nights of yelling at the television. What do you make of this caravan heading toward the United States?
You know, I was listening to you guys speak about the story, and you said that there was an embedded BuzzFeed reporter talking about their struggle. Okay, fine. Well, what about the struggle of the thousands of people from a lot of these other countries that have waited patiently online to do this the right way? What about that struggle? This is what always bothers me about the liberal approach to immigration. They talk about it as if there's not a consequence for other people, Steve. There is. One, there's a consequence for us, Americans who have to finance this chaos. This isn't immigration policy. This is chaos. And secondly, for people who come to the country patiently and legally, and they do it the right way. You can't have a country without borders. It's just a landmass without the borders.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. So the president sees what could happen to him, which happened to President Obama. Next thing you know, he's got a surge at the border. He doesn't know why. He's got to send Joe Biden down south to try to get these people to take their people back. But a lot of them end up staying here and getting absorbed into society. They end up in schools on Long Island, some of which are MS-13, as we know. We don't know. We have big hearts, but we also have a responsibility for the country and for those other people online. So in the big picture, did the president help or hurt himself by tweeting over the weekend?
No, he absolutely, Brian, helped himself. The president instinctively tapped into something in this last election that's been missing for a long time. You know, the liberals can crap on the country all they want. I'm sorry, but they do about how not compassionate we are. But that's garbage. We have taken in millions, Brian, millions of people into a country that's absorbed them. But in order to maintain some form of a collective identity in a country, we have to have some sense of commonality. We have to give generations of immigrants time to adapt to their new country and their new home. That's not what we have right now. We have complete, total, utter chaos. Tens of millions of people in the country illegally, not having followed the process, having stepped in front of a line of people who waited patiently to get online. I mean, one last thing on this, too. Think about how crazy our immigration policy is now. We have the governor of California, Moonbeam Brown, who will not, and his attorney general, who will not discount arresting the Orange County sheriff for enforcing immigration law, while simultaneously pardoning 5 people for illegal immigration crimes or to help them avoid deportation. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, the president is hoping that the Republicans will take that nuclear option so they can pass a tougher immigration plan before that caravan gets to the border. Will that happen? Who knows? Don't know if they have enough votes. Right?
Should.